All right, so let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's get into lead generation. And we're going to talk today about the 5 best ways to find new patients using the internet. So the first, let's start with these first 5. So we've identified here 5 areas where we feel like practitioners can really start to get new clients and generate new leads from social media or from the internet. So the first is pay-per-click. Now, I'm sure some of you are familiar with this. If you've searched for anything in Google, you'll see the top listing is a paid ad. And that's essentially what pay-per-click is. You pay for every click that you put through. So you may want to just sort of Google your own services in your own area and see what comes up. But certainly for practitioners that we work with that have used this service and have a particular niche, it's very effective. I mean, what's paying 5 cents, 10 cents, a dollar, $10 even for a lead when the net value of that client is probably going to be in the thousands of dollars? And these are people that are looking for, I don't know, a naturopath in Brooklyn or an acupuncturist in Chelsea or whatever it might be. You know, you have pay-per-click is a sort of a guaranteed way. Now, Rachel, what would you say are some of the that's some of the benefits, I guess, of pay-per-click? And there's other companies that are starting to do it, Facebook and LinkedIn, but those are different. I think Google's sort of the main one now. The benefit is you're going to get a lot of clients from it. You're going to have to pay for it. What are some of the downsides of pay-per-click?
Well, I think you mentioned one right there is you do have to pay for it. So it's not, this isn't a free way to get traffic to your website, although very effective way to get traffic to your website. But a couple things that I've found in working with this is Google Ads are the program itself is very robust and can be a little confusing when you're on the back end. So certainly recommend if you're not tech savvy, if this is a new field for you, you're going to want to have some support because they will also, if you do anything inappropriate unknowingly, they will shut you down. I've done that, and little tricky to come back through that. But the other thing about it is once you stop paying for this, unless you have other things that you're doing, you're going to drop down. You will no longer be at the top of Google because you're only there because you're paying for that space. So if you're not doing anything else to help build your SEO, then once you stop paying for these clicks, you may no longer be on the front page. So it's certainly a strategy that you want to include with other things that you do.
Perfect. All right, so other strategies that you could include what you do. How do you get some more organic juice flowing through your system? Well, social media and blogging. So I know a lot of practitioners and a lot of people spent a lot of money on search engine optimization, SEO, in the last few years. And what that was essentially doing was sort of geeking around with the back end of the internet and putting search terms all over the back of it. Now what we're seeing is Google is changing the way that it's ranking things. And so what's actually more important is original content being shared through social media. So blogging, if you've heard of Tumblr, if you've heard of WordPress, these are blogging sites where you're essentially developing content and then sharing it through social media. So practitioners who this works very well for are ones that have a very specific niche. This is why we speak about positioning. You want to be blogging about things that you know about, and we've seen that this can be particularly useful if you have long distance services, if you can treat people long distance, if you can do long distance lab tests, or if you have a bigger organization. But certainly, we've seen that there's a great article. If you Google how social media changed my practice, there's an amazing article by a pediatrician talking about how going through this whole process saved her a lot of money and also made her a lot of money for her clinic, new patients, but also changed her life. She was able to follow people that she cared about. She was able to blog about things that she cared about. She was able, when someone asked, what age is the right age to start bottle feeding or start, other types of regular food, she could just say, oh, check out my blog post. I wrote a blog about it, rather than always having to answer that question. And that's a great way to drive traffic. It's a great way to save your time. If you feel yourself saying the same things over and over again, it's about time to start blogging, I'd say.
Very, very true. And one of the things that I speak a lot with my clients one-on-one about, and we're going to be doing a lot more education on in this membership, is what is a blog? What does it mean to be blogging? What should I be blogging on? And I think, James, you mentioned such a great point, and this comes back to the positioning and how positioning helps you with your search engine optimization is because when you want to be known for a certain field, say coming back to our example of Lyme, then you're going to blog a lot about Lyme. You're going to use Lyme a lot in your keywords, a lot in the content, and so Google starts connecting you with Lyme. And so when people start searching for it, guess what? You're going to come up. Now, the other thing is that people, you could get into the argument with yourself around like, well, I only have 50 people like me or only 100 people like me on Facebook and nobody's really paying attention to it. Nobody's really reading my blog. And my answer to that is, that's okay. You know, it's really okay because yes, you do want people engaging and yes, you want them sharing your content. But at the very least, you need to be doing this because it's going to help you with your SEO, that search engine optimization. Google is looking for this. They want to see that you're relevant. They want to see that you're putting content out there. And if you aren't making these touch points, you're going to make it really difficult for yourself to catch up to people who are.
That's a great point. All right, so even if people aren't looking for it, Google is. So
exactly,
that's a really great point. All right, so you mentioned a little bit earlier about e-newsletters, Rachel, and here we have e-newsletter plus lead magnet. And I think you were sort of touching on that a little bit earlier. What would you say? What is a lead magnet, and why is it important to build your e-newsletter?
Good questions. Okay, so your lead magnet is what I was starting to say about an opt-in. You want to have something where you're exchanging an email for an ebook, a white paper, which is just like an informational paper, maybe an audio file. A big one that's happening now are doing these like little conferences or presentations. Yeah. And the benefit of doing that to build your list is you're going to get people who are interested in things that you have to say, so they're more likely to want to purchase from you. And that it's going to help you to build this list, and the list is going to allow you to do other joint ventures. It helps you to reach a market who may not find you through social media or blogging, so they're going to stay up to date with different things that you're doing. And it also helps to continue to build a relationship with your existing clients so that they remember you next time that maybe they haven't been in a while, but man, they've got a cold now, and you just happen to send out a newsletter about cold and flu season. Boom, you've made that connection, and they're able to email that or forward it on to their friends. And a lot of newsletters, the ways that you want to work with it are to utilize links back to your social media, utilize links back to your website. So again, you're using those as hubs to generate more traffic.
That's great. One thing I would say is I see a lot of practitioners using as a lead magnet a free 15-minute or a free 30-minute consultation. I just frankly feel like that's a little bit, I don't think it's efficient for anyone. You have to look at the risk and reward for the patient. I mean, you see the value in it because you're the practitioner, but from the patient's point of view, I think they're pretty savvy, and they know that the only reason why you'd spend 30 minutes with them free is because you want to sign them up to be a client. So using something like a lead magnet where you write the 5 things that you have to know about Lyme disease or the 5 things you have to know about allergies, and when they opt in, you send them that, you've done nothing. It's all happening by itself, and they're getting your credibility straight away, and then they're coming to you to make an appointment, and you're not having to beg them or cold call them or anything else. And that's this is the best practices in internet marketing being taken from other industries, and we're just applying it to the natural health industry, and it's working for those people who are doing it. All right, so all of these subjects we will be going into a lot more detail in our Inner Circle membership. I just want to mention events here because Rachel mentioned online events. More and more practitioners are doing online events, doing little teleclasses, especially if they have a particularly strong positioning in a certain niche. But offline events as well is a great way to be able to grow, and there's ways that you can grow your offline event online. Facebook events. There's a website called Eventbrite. All of these ways make it really easy to organize and promote your events in the local community. In our Inner Circle membership, we're going to teach you how to partner with national organizations to be able to get more people to your event and be more credible. I don't care what you think of the American Heart Association. Some people think it's a criminal organization. Some people think it's a, useful medical organization. But I will tell you that when you write a letter to your local paper saying we're having an event on heart health, if it comes on their letter writing paper, they're going to be much more likely to take you seriously, and that is the benefit in partnering with people like that, and they love people partnering with them. So this is what we're going to talk about with events, is how to gain credibility and how to gain sway by partnering with national organizations, how to organize your events online and offline. Anything you'd like to add before we go on to social coupons?
I think if you're doing offline, you could still use online strategies to market them. It's really just a combination of these tools. You can't have a really strong online presence and no offline. Even if your entire business is online, you still need to have some kind of offline presence. And then if you're all offline, you really do need to start promoting online, because people are looking for you. They're looking for these type of things, and you want to make it easy for them to find you, easy for them to come and attend one of your events and see what value they're going to get out of it. So definitely a good way to actually get to know you before maybe they become a client. So a lot of introductory or
orientation, evening, that kind of thing, regular patient orientation, very valuable. Yeah, extremely powerful. All right, and the last one here is social coupons, and I've saved this to last because I really want to talk a little bit about this, because this is the premier way to get a lot of new clients. You may have heard of things like Groupon, you may have heard of things like Living Social or Gilt City. There's tons of these things popping up right now, and one of the things that we're starting to see is that practitioners who are getting this right are delivering a ton of new patients into their offerings. But it can also be the death of your business. I saw an offering the other day, and I actually did a video on it because I was so scared. There was a chiropractor in New York who was offering a 60-minute massage, a 90-minute appointment, plus 2 follow-up visits for $29 as a way of getting people in. So I don't know. I think it was so popular, over 1,000 people bought it. I think he's going to be in trouble with that one. And I know businesses that have struggled as a result of this. But here's the key: we've worked with practitioners that have got this absolutely right, and their business has grown exponentially. So what do you need to get right in order to get your social coupon right? First of all, you have to pick the right services to put on the coupon. So, there are lots of different choices, and we're going to talk about this more different. But if you can get something that's not as labor intensive into it, that's a good starting point. With a social coupon, essentially what you're doing is you're paying for a lead. If you do acupuncture for $100 and you end up doing a Groupon for $50, you're going to get half of that, $25. You're basically paying $75 or 75% of your initial fee as a sort of paying for the lead. So you better make sure that you make that money back, either by definitely rebooking them, and rebooking is something that we're going to cover on our Inner Circle membership, because the clinic that I worked on, through asking the right questions, was able to improve its rebooking from about 20% to 80% with gift certificates, which is huge. And we're going to talk about the best ways that we did that. But also retail. If you can sell retail to every single person that comes through the door, then you're in good shape as well. So essentially, setting up an organization so that you get this right is huge. And I'll just give an example. We worked with a clinic in Williamsburg, Virginia. They did a Groupon for their colon hydrotherapy service, and they got 64 new clients. They organized their schedule every day, so they only had 2 new clients coming in per day, because I'm sure I don't need to tell all of you how tiring a new patient is compared to a current patient. They only scheduled 2 a day. They sold, on average, 1 product to every person who came in. Some people 3, some people 0, but on average 1 product per person. And they rebooked about 80% of the people. So if you get an opportunity to do this, I would highly recommend doing this, but I would recommend doing this right. And we're going to be talking more about how to do this right on some future calls. Just one thing is that just be careful about what you put on or what you try and put on Groupon. But I would also say that there's certain things that they need to see that you have in order to know that you're a credible business, like a Google Maps page, that kind of thing. So we will go through some of those details in our Inner Circle membership, but If you've considered using a social coupon, I would highly recommend it because it's hot right now. If you need a lot of new patients, but you have to make sure that your practice is ready for that kind of volume. Otherwise, you could put yourself out of business as quickly as you do it.
Awesome. Before we move on, I just typed into the chat bar our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/ReviveNYC. And our latest video is James doing going over this Groupon that he mentioned of the chiropractor, and just some little tidbits about that. So check it out. Groupon suicide. Don't do it.
All right.